Hey everyone, this is Cindy Allen, Editor-in-Chief of Interior Design, and I'm very excited about our show today because we are celebrating the Shaw Contract Design Awards that recognizes the spaces that, well, inspire us all. And get this, we are now in the 17th year of the awards. So they're doing something very, very right. Okay, first, I want to introduce you to our guests. We have Todd Jarvis. He's the Global Marketing Director of Shaw Contract. Todd, I'm so happy to see you.
Great to see you again. Can't believe it's been another year already, Cindy.
I can't even believe it. And then we have a really global jury, which I'm very excited about. This is the first of all around the world for us doing the show. We have Stephen Wells. He's the principal of Hendrick in Atlanta, Georgia. Hi, Stephen.
Hi.
And we have Ida Kiss. She's the design director of DVM Group in Budapest, Hungary. Hello, Ida. It's so nice to see you.
Hello. Really great to meet you.
And then we have Nicholas Zapata. He's the Innovation and Development Director of AEI Spaces in Bogota, Colombia. Hola, ¿qué tal?
Hola, ¿cómo vas? Hey, how are you?
It's so great to see you. And from Bangalore, India, it's midnight there. We're giving him a big hug. This is Subhashish Mandal. He's the design director and senior associate of Gensler. How are you? Thank you for staying up.
Absolutely. I can be officially the person to say good morning and good evening.
There you go. There you go. Well, welcome everybody. I know you've been together before on the jury, and now we're going to sort of do a recap and get to know what happened in the awards and then dig into the project. So I want to start with Todd. Todd, let's look, in order to have 17 years of something, it has to be something really special. Things don't last that long unless they're really good. But in order to be good, you do have to mix things up. So give us a little taste of what changed this year.
Yeah, absolutely. We really made a big change this year, Cindy. In the past, we have had an initial round of judging that was based on the market segment of the projects. This year, we decided to go regional. So we had 8 best of region judging events all around the globe. So around 40 judges all in different parts of the world. And I do want to shout out real quick, if I may, the other 4 judges who did our global round. And because of time zones, were not able to join us. So Jason Horton with CBRE in Tokyo, and Karen Miller with NCIDQ in Kuwait City, Rula Asmar with Marchese Partners in Melbourne, Australia, and Yvonne Chow with the Vision in Hong Kong were part of this esteemed group, and truly the most global judging we've ever had. If you can imagine trying to corral 8 people from all parts of the world to make a decision on 5 projects, that was a lot of fun.
That's amazing. Congratulations on making that happen, really. And, you know, I know in the past, like pre-COVID, you were always getting everyone together. And now this Zoom life has allowed for things to open up in a new way, but it is still complicated to get everyone together, even on a Zoom.
I promised everyone that we'd be done in 2 hours, and we had about 20 minutes to go and had only decided on 1 project out of the 5. So I was very nervous, but a lot of great teamwork here, and they came through and made the decision just about on time.
That's amazing. Now, I heard the submissions, it was like a big pile of submissions. Tell us about the numbers.
Yeah, almost 600 submissions from 44 countries around the globe. And we ended up with 37 best of region winners. And from that pool of 37, this group chose the 5 best of globe winners.
And I have to give a big shout out to Shaw Contract, because they are looking for like these amazing spaces that inspire us all. And it's not about what's on the floor. Shaw has to be in it, but you always sort of like, you're always saying, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. So a big shout out to you for that. I'm going to name some of the collections as we go along, just because I think I should promote you.
Thank you. But yeah, it is a design contest, not a flooring contest. And we say that every year, and still we'll get a few submissions where all the photography is looking at the floor, and that's not the point. We want to be included, but this is about celebrating design.
Right, exactly. And as we get started, judges, what how was it? What did you think how the caliber was of the projects?
Very impressed, to say the least. It's always fun to see work from all around the world, to see what other areas on the globe are doing and how something's, aligned as far as what we're seeing here locally in your own market. And then catching to see what some things are different that may even inspire you for your own design or your own sort of creativity, to be honest. I loved it.
Yeah. It's so funny because as we roll out the winners here at Interior Design, we're judging our best of year winners. And so I know what it feels like very intimately. But I always think it tells you what's happening in the world in a year by like having all these voices come together in piles or digitally and saying, this is what we're doing here and this is what we're doing there. And it's so special and a big responsibility for you guys too. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to get to let's a big drum roll, please. And we'll start with the Crystal Clinic Orthopedic Center by HGA. Now that was in the segment of healthcare, and that was in Ohio, if I'm correct, right?
Yep.
What was special about it? What did you think made this one an award winner?
Well, so when I was asked to do this, my approach to looking at all the projects was to look at them visually first. So just at the imagery to see what really resonated with me about the project from, spatial alignments, aesthetics, all of the great things that create a well-rounded design. And then I went back and read about it. And I was very surprised to see that this particular space was actually a healthcare environment based on the overall aesthetic that I was seeing in the imagery. It checked so many boxes across from a design perspective. It could have been corporate, it could have been hospitality. It didn't really feel like a traditional healthcare environment, at least not what we are used to here in the United States anyway. And I loved reading about the project as well, because not only did they obviously create a beautiful space, but they really, really focused on an evidence-based approach to the design and really focused on how they were going to achieve wellness through the access of views and daylight throughout the entire space, especially to the patient rooms that are a part of this clinic. But again, as you look at all the layers that achieve the overall aesthetic in the space, it really has a beautiful harmony about it. And the other thing that I thought was really inspirational was the way in which they connected to the community as well. And a lot of the artwork that is a part of the project is locally based as well. And so not only are you experiencing the outdoor environment because of the huge amount of glass that surrounds and encases the space, but you also get a sense of the cultural aspects of the local community as well because of the artwork program that they instilled throughout the project.
First of all, I love starting with this project because in the first 5 minutes, we're talking about what everyone's talking about these days,
Yes.
which is we're talking about wellness, but we're talking about the intermingling of what is this project? It could be hospitality, it could be workplace. Is it healthcare, really?
Right,
So who else
right.
thought really highly of this project?
What I really love about this project it really thinks about the idea of waiting in the healthcare design. We have different parts of designing the environments for the patients, for the doctors, but also we need to include the people that are waiting for information, and we also like to wait maybe on groups, alone, maybe we wanted to work a little bit. And I think that's a new approach of how the overall project tries to enhance interior design from the healthcare idea.
I agree
Yeah.
with you, Nicholas. It felt very much like a hotel lobby. I mean, all of the waiting spaces were very warm and inviting. The materials that they used, the palette that they used. I mean, it really felt like you were in a cozy, warm hotel in Ohio.
In Ohio, it's like
That's
Ohio.
right.
That's crazy. Oh, and by the way, the featured product is honest tile and shelter tile. And what I like also when I'm looking at the projects, just this sort of mingling of what Shaw does best too, which is a wide variety. So that's very cool too. Okay, so congratulations. Ohio's in the house. We love that. All right, our next project, Best of Globe winner is EY Melbourne by Gensler. It was in Workplace, and this is in Australia, right? This one's in Melbourne, Australia. I think, Nicholas, you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe one of the great ideas that I love about this project is that everyone in the jury session has a different opinion about it. Yeah, but everyone tries to touch in one idea that it's a human-centered design environment. You know, it's a post-COVID idea of the new ways of meeting, of greeting your clients. I think EY has this concept of sustainability that it's very powerful through the design. It's not all over new. They reuse some of the material. They try to reestablish the stairs. So it's not only a project that it looks good, but it also has its bones, so some foundations on what it needs to be the remerge of some environment.
I like that Nicholas said people reacted. So how else did the jury react to this project?
I think the interesting thing about the whole process of the awards anyways really is that everyone is looking at different aspects, and a lot of aspects about workspaces coming from what culturally is workspace. And I'll talk a little bit about that when I talk about the project that I will be kind of, focusing on. And I think that's exactly what Nicholas also says, that when you talk about workspace and the idea of human, centricity, what is human centricity for a culture? And for work, what does that actually mean when people are kind of looking at it? What is your sensibility and how that kind of looks at it? And I think that's why it's interesting. It's also how is EY specific in looking at that design, in that project, in that context, versus like for a project that we are doing for them here, which is kind of different, but you often tend to look at values differently, but at the same time find paths that kind of connect back.
Absolutely. I do want to point out that 70% of the furniture suppliers were certified Indigenous ownership suppliers through a program they had called Supply Nation. That was pretty cool. And the featured Shaw product is Dye Lab Tile. We love Dye Lab Tile, Poured Tile, and Solitude LVT. Congrats on that. Congrats on that. Okay, so drum roll, please. Our number 3 Best of Globe winner, it's the Hilton Singapore Orchard by Avalon Collective. Obviously, this is in the hospitality segment, and this was based in Singapore. Todd, you wanted to talk about it. What was so special about the project?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to be able to give as much design language as our esteemed judges here, but I was lucky enough to visit this project just last week when I was in Singapore. Spent time with Avalon Collective providing their award, and before that walked the project, and just an amazing hotel. And I've got a little history here because I used to stay at the old Hilton in Singapore, which was down the road. And actually went up to the front desk manager and had him show me one of the guest rooms. And as we were going up the elevator, he worked at the old Hilton as well and was telling me about the improvement in RevPAR or revenue for their rooms that they've had since this redesign. It's incredible. So, we talk a lot about design optimism, and you think about how design can really make a difference in the bottom line for your clients. I think that's really, really crucial. So what a beautiful place, and the results are in already with how they've raised their room rates. So really, really exciting.
What's so interesting about hospitality also is what I call the ka-ching factor is right there, right? Yeah. So they have a way to like sort of value design because they either get more for the room rates or they fill up the hotel. So I love that you said that. They were like right away, they saw, it's different with workplace and healthcare, other places where it's a little bit harder, because I always want to like cheer you all, and say what you do really, really matters. But in hospitality, right away. Yeah. So who else loved the project? Ida, tell us a little bit more about, oh, both of you can go ahead. Subhashish, so go ahead.
No, Ida, please.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it was an interesting project because there was a lot of debate around it. We were not unanimously certain about voting this as best of globe winners. But what came out as really the value of this project was the really sophisticated detailing and how the material selection was carefully chosen. So we found that while it's really conveying the message of like warm hospitality, really welcoming spaces. At the same time, the highly graded value of the hotel was represented in the choice of materials, in the really nice and elaborate detailing that we loved very much.
And Subhashish, did you like the project? Did you love the project? Did you want to give it an award?
I mean, for me, the project was just, I think I was and Ida's absolutely right, because there was a lot of discussion about it. But I mean, I loved the project from the get-go, especially because I think there's something very quietly timeless about the design. And like, the details, even the proportions, wherever the proportions are large, there's a sense of very quiet sophistication in the way the spaces are. And what happens is, I feel that although I've not visited, I think it's a space that you can just be in and nothing is really shouting at you, but it kind of grows on you slowly. And I think there's something about hospitality that says that how can a place just be and you become like an extension of the space, but you're not looking at it, but you're in it. And then there's a difference in that understanding of how hospitality works. And I think that was something that was quite lovely about it. And Ida's picked up on all the details so well, and that's really true.
Yeah, I'd love to chime in. I loved this project as well. The thing that really resonated with me was how the design team managed the different volumes within the space. And Todd, I'm sure that you got to experience this first-handedly, but some of the areas actually had very low volumes, but the design team did a fantastic job of eluding the eye to create volume where it didn't exist. And then in other areas where it was very voluminous, super really high areas within the project, they managed to create very intimate, very human scale environments. So, much like both of the other judges were just saying, it really creates a warm and inviting experience, even though you're in this very large volume of space. So I just thought it was quite brilliantly done in conjunction with everything else that they've pointed out along the details of the design as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're all looking for something that kind of moves us in some way, or something original in some way. Sometimes it's not like a super wow. When I saw it, I thought, wow, they're doing exactly what you said. They're doing these beautiful shapes that are creating something that it feels original. It feels original, yet handsome. And as you all are saying, a place that you want to be in. So congrats to them. The featured Shaw is Composed LVT and Soundscape LVT. So there we go. All right, so now we're on to our Best of Globe winner, number 4, and it's IGO by Resin and Temple Well in Perth, Australia. I lived there many years ago, and the segment is Workplace. And I think, Ida, you're going to tell us why it felt special to you.
Especially because it was one of my favorite projects among the selection. And why I really loved it because it was 2 things. One is that, IGO is operating in the mining industry, which is considered to be, very heavy industry, really masculine. And this space, when you're looking at the pictures and the space itself, it's really contrary to what's associated with masculinity. And obviously the space itself has a really great potential already, because they have spectacular views over the river. So they focused and turned the views of the spaces outwards. So there's when you enter, you imagine yourself entering that space. It opens up towards the exterior and towards the landscape around it, and it grabs really beautifully this environment. Air and light penetrates these spaces. However, the spacious zones are created, but at the same time, they have really, really beautiful detailing again, and a careful selection of materials in a very harmonious way. The detailing is really resembling the Art Nouveau and Art Deco kind of style. And what was for me really special in this project is the integration of the artwork. I mean, similarly, I love the integration of artwork in the EVI project as well, which is, bringing culture into the office is somehow the representation, a very strong representation of the local culture.
Lovely, lovely. The featured product was the Heddle tile. And so a big congrats there. And now we are getting to the Best of Globe winner number 5. It's Sede Insole Energia by Mobio Arquitectura this is in Brazil. And it's also a workplace project. So Subhashish, you're going to talk about this, right?
Yes.
What'd you
I'm
love
glad
about
you actually pronounced the entire name, because then I don't have to try to do it, because I know
Yeah.
I'm going to mess it up. But I'm glad you did that for me. So
Thank you.
that's done.
Thank
and
you.
it's introduced. But a couple of things. I think that the reason I think the project kind of made it and it ticked so many boxes was it first looked at a blending of interior design, looking at how you look at restoration, sustainability, kind of bringing back the idea of reuse, which is hugely important at the moment, and something that is very inspiring on that ground. How you also look at color, because a lot of Brazil is also like a lot of India in terms of color and saturation and texture, and how they kind of use that. They kind of used about the way the color was encapsulated in the building, in this idea of the heat map, in the way you look at spaces. They've used different kinds of volumes very intelligently, and there's a hybrid workspace as well, along with formal workspaces. You can also tell that the project is designed with a cost control, and you can see that they've used the budgets well. They've kind of used whatever they had, and they've ensured that, they've done it within this way that the design it's young, and it's kind of, there's a lot of vibrance, and also the way they kind of looked at stripping down the architecture and exposing what was old, and then they kind of introduced these light features in the way they had the double volume ceilings, and the fact that it kind of is a part of an urban street, and you're bringing that in as well, and you're kind of bringing art in this very contemporary way. So I think workspace has become a lot of that. You are looking at hospitality, and I think that was, I don't know if you've noticed, but in the other workspace projects and this one, it's interesting how they're all quite different looking, but they're all interesting because they have such stories to tell. And I think that's what this whole thing is really about, on how that kind of becomes very important. So I think that was, for me, what really kind of made this project happen. The mix of the old, new, and the fact that, you look into the past and you take it forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And, color, like we're very open to color these days. Thank God, thank goodness. Right. But it's also now it's edited. Right. So even if it's fun, it's not cutesy anymore. Like they do this project, they're doing it the right way, which is really, really nice. Did anybody else want to say something about that project? Oh, Nicholas, please.
Yeah, thank you. This project being in South America, and I'm from Colombia. It's lovely to see how in all the cities here in South America, we're trying to come back to the center, to the Republican and colonial architecture, and that's that shield that we are talking about. That we need to restore some of that architecture and trying to bring it to life. And I also love that the company, it's actually the energy company from the city, and some of the details are on the lighting, on how the vibrance of the colors they show.
The featured shot is poured tile, color frame tile, and cast LVT. So congrats for that. All right, Todd, I'd love for you to talk about the Best of Globe trophy. It was special this year.
Yeah, really something different. We've had a several-year partnership with a yarn artist in Singapore. Her name is Kelly Limerick, and she does amazing things with yarn, and actually with our yarn. So she uses what is essentially leftover yarn from our plant in China. We ship to her, and she really enjoys working with it. Not for what it was intended for originally, to make carpet, but she created our Best of Globe trophy this year, which is a combination of her yarn work and also some reclaimed work from wood from another artisan in Singapore. So really a special trophy this year with a great story behind it and a strong sustainability bend as well.
That's great. That's wonderful. So listen, before we get off, I'd love to give each of you just one opportunity to tell everybody, what do you see in the future? In your practices, what are you most excited about? Stephen, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think that for me and my company, it's probably really looking at the evolution of workplace. That's one of our biggest focuses in our market segments, and really understanding from our clients where their challenges are, and then looking to design solutions for those. This is such a new experience that we're all going through right now as this sort of hybrid workplace. And I think we were headed that way in anyway, but the pandemic sort of shot us into that direction a lot faster than we were going, at least here in the United States. And I think it's a really exciting time for us in the design world to really reevaluate how do we design places that support the way in which people work and work very differently now.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Nicholas.
I think that for Latin America, maybe the most that we are excited about is our clients are asking the right questions, not only about the space, but for our feelings, how we should feel in this new environment, how the architecture can help us create new dynamics and create new ways of working, educating, and healing. And maybe this is the next path for us that create architecture with purpose, we call it, and that's it. I think that's the idea and the lovely feeling from the new architecture here.
Yeah. And Ida, in Budapest?
Well, in Budapest, the current kind of trend is really about efficiency, affected very much by the European situation, the war very near to us. And at the same time, this results in, when a workplace design and business is always in movement. So now businesses are shrinking a bit and spending their money more wisely. So even when after the pandemic, we have already been asking questions from our clients to, really get down to the roots of what they really want and what is it that reflects their DNA and their values. What is the real purpose of the office space? And we have to even better formulate these questions now. And it's clear for everyone now that there's no off-the-shelf product and solution for a workplace, no universal truth for every company. So we have to seek for customized solutions, ideas, and go hand in hand in this process with our clients in close discussions.
Absolutely. And last, from India?
I think I think, of course, in terms of the business, I think everyone's kind of said a few, and they're all extremely important and related, but I'll add something which is a little personal. For me, I think that the lessons as designers that we are learning are slightly different. I mean, what's happening is before we always learn about design and, we talk about design language, but I think that language and what constitutes design and understanding is changing. And I think the idea of finding the common truth of expression between multiple allied design and art, and what is it that is, and like what Nicholas said is so true, what is your center? And finding that center in that project or in that design, and what really makes sense, and the center on the globe is all very, very close now. So finding that solution and using lessons learned for all of that, just exactly like Shaw Awards has done for all of us. You know, I think that's what really is. I mean, we're looking and we're learning differently.
Yeah, we certainly are. And first of all, I want to thank you as jurors for really digging deep, because clearly in all of your comments you are. And by the way, you do see that in the projects, because the range, those 5 are completely different. So thank you for being, so sensitive and making it your responsibility. We really appreciate that. Of course, Todd, thank you so much. I can't believe it's 17 years, but a huge thanks to Shaw for, honestly, for your continued commitment to design. It's 17 years of the Shaw Contract Design Awards. I say, you don't look a day over. Fabulous. Keep it up. We need you. We appreciate you. Thank you.